Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Ms. Rashi Gupta, who is the co-founder of Rezo.ai, which is an AI-powered customer experience platform specializing into contact centers and customer conversation analytics. Hi Rashi, welcome to ELI.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Sure. So my name is Rashi Gupta and I'm the co-founder at Rezo.ai. I founded Rezo approximately 4.5 years back. And, to talk a bit about myself, I'm a pure data science at heart. Data is what drives me. I've been doing data for a good 20 years. And, the passion for data was so much that I had gone ahead to a very far away country, Finland, to do my PhD in data science and spent good 6 years in the snow to, just because I wanted to apply what I had learned. The knowledge of mathematics, genome is what the data that I was working then.
Mhm.
And then, did that very passionately about, did a lot of publications and then came back to India because I wanted to be in India and do things here. Came back to India, joined JNU as an assistant professor, worked with them for good 3 years, then moved to the industry because I wanted to just look at the industry data as well. And when I moved to the industry, worked in the industry for good 5 years in different companies. And before starting Rezo, that's a quick brief about myself.
Got you. Uh, we will talk about Rezo in a bit, but would love to know a little bit about your journey prior to entrepreneurship, and especially I wanted to learn what motivated you to become a data scientist or get into the field of data. And I understand you have been doing this for a long, long time. Probably when you started out, data analytics was not a hot thing to do. So what motivated you? What was the inner calling that motivated you to uh, become a data scientist?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, I did mathematics for good 5 years. So that was abstract algebra and linear algebra and, all sorts of mathematical and analytical stuff I did. And then
Okay.
I was just wondering as to, there was too much of mathematics. I did my graduation from Lady Shri Ram College in mathematics, then went for a master's from IIT Delhi. It was more like a, applied mathematics course. So 5 years of mathematics, and then I was looking at where can I apply this, because otherwise it would have become too abstract.
Mm.
So then I looked at areas, right, where I could do this. And the first research paper, I used to read a lot of research papers, and I came across an article in proteomics where they were leveraging a lot of linear algebras. And then I realized, okay, this could be an area, right? Because they are using the techniques that I had learned good 5 years. And how can I leverage that technique to delve into the data? And that point of time, it didn't bother me what data. Genomic data used to be like, it's like your body, like
Right.
genome, if you can decipher that. So it was the next level of inspiration, right? Can I apply the 5 years of mathematical knowledge that I had to actually identify what is happening within my body, or what is causing various diseases and all of that. So I took a plunge. I wanted to do this kind of a cross interdisciplinary sort of a domain, mathematics and biology combined, to do analytics and to fish out things. And then I started to look at an place where I can actually get this, because that point of time India did not have or I couldn't stumble upon any opportunity here. And then there was at University of Helsinki, they were hiring mathematicians, right, who could come for a year and work on the data. So that is the opportunity I tapped upon, right? I went to Helsinki, beautiful country full of snow. It's very, very female centric. Like they have only she. There is no concept of he, because if you write she, he is a part of she. So
Mm.
it's a country that makes women very empowered, right? So I got an opportunity to be with them, and they were struggling with data. They had lots and lots of data. They wanted people like me who had an analytical bent of mind, who knew techniques, who knew tools, and could basically leverage the mathematical knowledge to work upon their data. And they had humongous amount of data. You ask for it and they will give you dumps and dumps. So that was the place for me, right? So I joined them, I worked with them, and every day was a newer day because, the problems were immense. They did not had people like me, and I got the data, and there was some hypothesis that they wanted me to work upon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fabulous time, in the snow, working with data. So everything was right. I stayed with them for 1 year, did analytical, good deep dive into their biological data, genomic sort of data, coming from very high throughput technologies like microarray, next generation sequencing. And then they loved what I was doing. And that is when one of their schools offered me a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed back, and I said, let me this it was the same data that I was working on, but then I got professors who were doing a lot of machine learning, AI, Bayesian models. I got a chance to work with them and work upon this data, right? For me, the mathematical models were more significant. Applying that mathematical knowledge was more critical, but the data came from the gene genome aspect. So
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed, and that is how my whole journey of data analytics started, which is like what, as you rightly said, maybe a space that did not exist in our minds, right? That is how I decided to, work, and I got that opportunity.
Okay. uh, from a skill set point of view, from a profession point of view, I think you were doing well. But data science is one thing, entrepreneurship is a separate thing altogether. And skills do not matter here. What matters is how resourceful you can be. You have to sell yourself every day, and a lot of different things are there. It's a different ball game altogether. How did you land up in entrepreneurship, and what triggered that?
Yeah. So data. So data analytics, and a researcher, right? Which goes even one step behind, because researcher
Mm.
is more like a self, individual contributor. Doesn't work in any team.
That's right.
Solely working on data and presenting something. So the journey from there to to an entrepreneurship has been a tough one, to be honest, because I actually didn't know the industry norms, right? When you come to an industry, there is this, there is this hierarchy, right? There
Mm.
are these bosses and the managers and the senior managers. That whole hierarchy is there. I actually never worked in the, in a typical organization. And when I started working in my first organization, I was finding it difficult to actually even interpret this, because I was a individual contributor, a researcher. So this was tough for me.
Mm.
And then slowly, when I got into the game, I realized that I wanted to do something. I had all of these ideas of automating the contact center, automating how a human agent is basically typing. Why is he making so many calls, so many errors, and why can't we put a model around it? So every day I was shooting out ideas,
Mm.
and not many people were buying my idea. So the only option I was left with, if you wanted to do something, if you wanted to do what you were suggesting, nobody else was buying my pitch. So
Mm.
either I set up my own unit, or I shut down, creating these newer ideas on a daily basis.
Okay.
So it was a hard call. I took that call, and I think my co-founder, the first task he gave me, he says, 2 in the afternoon, Rashi, this is that whole list of people. I want you to do a calling starting from, whatever, after lunch, just start to call people where people would be sitting. And I used to pick up that list of 50, 60, and I used to, do cold calling. I didn't know how to do that. I did it months over months. People used to bang the phone. It was a very difficult job, right? I didn't know, right? If somebody would say, I don't want to buy this, and I was like, yeah, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I understand. I used to bang the phone. There was no convincing, nothing. And from there to now, when I'm heading the sales, right, where I'm
Mhm.
selling, I'm the core person who does the sale. I head the sales, right? So it has been a great journey, right? Learnings is what I would say. A lot of hard work to get here.
Speaking of co-founder, can you tell us how did you find a co-founder for something that is so hardcore technology and hardcore analytics?
So that was a very easy one, to be honest, right? I found the co-founder in my house. My co-founder currently is my better half, right? He comes from a pure technology background, right? He has been heading technology, he has been heading product. And the difficult part was when we both decided to take the plunge. So it's like you shut all the taps in your house, no inflow of money, and then you're only spending, right? To form a team, no income. So I think the tough part was when both me and my better half took this plunge to do this, to formulate Rezo. That was a difficult bit, but to find one was easy because, I have been, we've known each other for a very long time. So we know the positive and the negative of each of us, right? I know what his strengths are, where he will play, right? So it was very easy. And I think we have a very beautiful demarcation as to how we work together, right? Purely professional. And he has his own domain where he contributes, I have my own domain where I contribute, and it's an ecosystem that we have built. And now we are hiring for more and more people.
Okay. Would love to know, how did you go about building a company, in terms of how did you hire employees, the first set of employees, what did you tell them what you are building and what was the idea? How did you find the first few clients? What was the pitch, or what was your product in the first place? And how did you, the static friction, how did you get it running from scratch? What was the process involved?
So I think we broadly, onboarding a person. My first employee was one of my colleague that I had worked with, previously for good 5 years. So he was also, he's more like a co-founder. His name is Harsh. He has built things with me from scratch. Between Harsh, Manish, and me, we have built things from scratch. The first set of codes, how the selling had happened, we did it together. To get the first client, right? That was a tough one, right? Because we were pitching and people were like, this space doesn't exist, right? You guys are absolutely on the wrong trajectory. This is not going to work. And then we got an opportunity with the delivery. So delivery was my first client, right? And if delivery wouldn't have happened, I think we would have just shut down the overall things that we had invested in. So Bhavesh Minglani that time was, he had a project in mind, and we reached out to him and we said that, we can potentially do things for you. So he was brave enough to trust us, right? And he said, this is a rolling thing. Can you get this up and rolling in a very brief period? And the brief period was, I think, 4 or 5 days. And Manish and Harsh, we sat down. I think in less than a day or something, we called him back. He said, we are done. He said, are you guys crazy, right? And
Mm.
that is how we got my first project and we started to sell. So yeah, initial clients are always very, very tough, and I'm really, really grateful to this first opportunity.
Tell us a bit about the business side of things, like what is Rezo.ai? What is the product? What are the features, and how companies are using it?
So Rezo, when I'm pitching to my clients, is like, it's a smart contact center, right? It's a simplistic smart contact center. In our current avatar, we are roughly approximately handling 20 lakh interactions a day. 20 lakh interactions, which is a lot, right? 20 out of which would be 15 lakhs call outbound or
Mm.
inbound calls that we are handling. Now, so we just say, to large enterprises, like, it could be very large organizations in the automobile space, in the financial, in the banking space, in the NBFCs. We just go out and say, if you have a need to interact with your end customer and you are outsourcing your business to a human-led contact center, you can consider Rezo. So we
Mhm.
don't have anything human-led, but we do everything, anything and everything just with the power of machine learning. AI is what we have built. It's purely powered by technology. And it's a powerhouse, right? There is no chutti, like,
Mm.
weekend, Diwali, whatever. The engines will roll, right? I
Okay.
mean, there is no gap, right? The precision, once the precision is set, it rolls with that precision across all calls. There is not like, there are good days and bad days for us, right?
Mhm.
For us as humans, right? Once you bring in the technology, there are no good days and bad days from that aspect, right? If the engine is rolling, it is rolling, right? It will roll with the precision that you have set. But yes, then there are elements that you would like the humans
Mm.
to be mapped to, right? So
Yeah.
it's a very clear cut demarcation. We go to the enterprises and we say, whatever function can be automated, you should consider Rezo for that, and we will be able to roll with you at a pace that you want us to roll. You don't have to, for example, a billion day sale, right? You don't have to onboard people and then offboard people. You can just outsource all of that work to us, and we will roll with you with precision. So that's the kind of product that we have. So there are two products. One is we will automate interactions for enterprises over voice, over
Mm.
email, over chat, and whatever cannot be automated should go to the human agents. And when the human agents are working, right, we will assist them to work in a more precise manner. For example, if somebody is pitching you a destination to go for your December breaks, right? A New Year
Mm.
December break. Now, if you have in the past leveraged on to a beach sort of a vacation and you love it, right? And maybe year on year you have gone there. So I have a repository of that data with you, what all destination. So the idea is, in a layman sort of an avatar, I will pitch you anything and everything. But
Mm.
I know that you have gone to these destinations in the past. I can't be pitching you that, right? I need to be more innovative.
That's right.
So all the pitching has to be data driven, right?
Mm.
So it's like whatever can be automated will be automated, and when it goes to the human, these are going to be more informed sort of pitching, which a human would be looking through. Rezo would be prompting to the human agents, and human agents would be latching on to those prompts and then pitching to the end customer. So it's more powerful, right? It makes more sense. It eats away less of the end customer time, and it's more satisfying.
Mm. Uh, I understand a lot of the calls and lot of the inbound queries are answered by the AI engine. But when you started initially, when you were just training the AI for the first time, the engine wouldn't be so intelligent, wouldn't be so powerful. So how did you crack that barrier when you started out? How did you train your AI on real business scenarios and all?
So that's a challenge we face every day, because every brand that we go to, right? If I go to a telecom, to a bank, to a automobile, right? So everybody has a very different way of talking to the end customer. And these are open-ended bots, right? For example, if I'm calling you for a recharge of your mobile or for your DTH, right? I would say, आपका ये खत्म हो गया है, मैं आपके पास मेरे पास एक बहुत अच्छा ऑफर है, would you like to avail that offer? Now the response from your side could be anything, right?
Mm.
It's good for me, I can recharge it tomorrow. I don't want to recharge. You didn't do a good service last time, so I don't want to talk to you.
Mhm.
So these are all verbatims which are coming up, right? So the system needs to be so equipped to be able to pick upon all of these verbatims and automatically update a model, so that today, if you are able to handle, for example, 50% of the conversation when you
Mm.
go live the first day, right, you should be able to move that from a 50 to a 60 to a 70 and up the game, right? So that's the kind of engine we have built, and we are every day building the same. And the idea is, with more and more precision of the technology, with more sophisticated models, we are trying to get it closer to the how an idealistic world should operate.
So every day the accuracy level is increasing and
Yes, correct. So that's the mandate. More volumes should be addressed, and the accuracy needs to increase. So we watch this at every single enterprise level, every single model level is what this monitoring happens at Rezo.
so if I were to ask you what is the exact problem it is solving for the business, is it automation, is it cost cutting, or is it more intelligently answering to the customers than they were getting a while back, or is it reducing wait time? What are the core value propositions?
So there are a lot, right? I mean, and thanks for bringing this out, right? There are a lot of these core values that we are bringing to the enterprise. One is, you can't be limited to the volume that you want to. For example, humanly, you may only be able to do X. With Rezo, there is no limitation on your X. You can you can spread your wings as much as you like. So that's the very important thing. Then the idea is my overall, when I'm doing the connect, right, I'm also trying to understand with the power of data, what time will you pick up my call, right? What's a smart time to connect with you?
Mm.
And when I do that, I'm able to bring lot of conversion, much more than what you would have been able to do from a 9 to 5, right? So that's what the enterprise count. If I'm able to bring more revenue to the enterprise by reaching out to their customer, that is the core for them, right? Everything else becomes very secondary. First is the volume, second is more revenue to the enterprise, third is, what is also very critical for the large enterprises is the CSAT, the customer satisfaction, because you're calling them at a time when they will pick up the call. There is not too much nagging. It's more intelligent, right? If I call you once today and you said, please call me, after 5 days, the bot understands that and repeats the calling after 5 days rather than just, getting a call the next day. That's a lot of mistakes that we see in a human-led contact center. It's like monotonous sort of calling without context. And then obviously the fourth very big element for enterprises is it comes at a much reduced cost.
Mm-hmm.
So these are four actionable volumes, getting higher revenues for the brand, improved CSAT, and cost cutting.
Got you. Uh, so one thought always comes to my mind. I always think about it. The AI is getting intelligent day by day. Every day we have a better AI, and it's not very far away that when the AI agents will become more intelligent and smarter than a human agent itself. And when that happens, the human agents will not be needed. So, would like to hear your thought on this. How far are we on that track, and will human agents be totally eliminated from business processes like contact centers and all?
No, absolutely not. See, it's a myth that AI is going to be displacing human agents, right? With AI, decisioning is going to be more smarter, pitching is going to be more smarter, and enterprises are latching on to that. If I've talked to n number of enterprises, nobody is looking at displacing human agents. So this can rest in peace. Nobody is looking at displacing. Obviously there are functions that can be automated, so a displacement will happen there. But when enterprises are latching onto AI, are latching onto technology, they are also looking at scale. So the
Mhm.
idea is there is no churn that is going to happen. It's just more volumes are coming in. With the more volumes, AI can only do X,
Okay.
right? That superset minus X will always be handled by the human agents. And the idea is with that superset minus X, which is handled by the human agent, can that be done more intelligently, right? That is what is AI bringing on the table. Nobody is looking at churn. Nobody is looking at displacement, right? With with more of AI, more volumes can be handled. So it's the growth that people are looking at. So anybody who's latching on to AI are also looking at a growth angle, right? If there is no growth, people would say, yeah, this is what it is, right? I am happy with my X number of human agents and I'm rolling fine, right? So that's what the construct is. Some level of displacement will happen, but that displacement will basically bring in growth for the enterprise where the contact center people are situated. And that means more work from them, maybe a little different. So AI is going to be making people from generalist to specialist, which is good, right? Because we want to talk to smarter human beings rather than just a flat pitching. So AI is shifting human agents from generalist to specialist. In my mind, that's what the thought process is, and that's the direction where it is heading.
Understood. In the interest of time, I just have one or two questions left. Would love to know what are the different challenges that you have faced during your entrepreneurial journey, and what are some of the challenges that we can learn from and we can apply to our ventures.
See, challenges are tremendous, right? It could be, how do I do my first sale? What product to build? How do I find the market fitment? Where do I get how do I onboard, employees? How do I do the retention of my employees? How do I, make sure that there is, I don't get displaced as a startup, right? How do I look at sustainability? How do I look at growth? How do I look at funding? So you can, I mean, there are problems and problems and problems, and when you wake up and you are doing this journey, you have to, you need to be a powerhouse, right? You need to be ready for all sorts of challenges, but also have a little calm mind that, just because you have taken a plunge, right, you've thoughtfully taken a plunge, and just go with the flow, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I've learned all the tricks. I think I every day when I wake up is like, I know I will land up into another challenge and I need to crack that. So that's my only motto that I'm living with, right? Every day will throw me a different challenge and I need to crack it. I need to crack it with a very peaceful mind. If I'm not peaceful in my mind, I don't know what the solution is going to be. So just go with the flow. I think things happen, but yes, be assured, challenges are tremendous, but just go with the flow, and it's you can deal with it.
What is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How would you define the term entrepreneur?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
uh, yeah, it's quite a tough one. I will have to think through what how do I define it.
So, what is your personal opinion or personal definition of this one?
Actually, I never thought about it, right? But if I just, if I just look through, what is entrepreneurship getting me to do, right? I think it is getting me to, to learn aspects about Rashi that I didn't know about,
Mhm.
right? I'm basically, evolving every single day. I'm actually coming to know what are my capabilities. At the end of the day, when I'm calm and I've still been able to handle, enormous things during the day, I just come back and I say, wow, it was a good day. It was a huge amount of learning. So entrepreneurship is basically, pushing yourself beyond your limits, getting to know that you will be able to do much more than what you actually thought. And it's a rough world. There are a lot of like-minded people, like a lot of other entrepreneurs, around. Just leverage them, because they're also sailing through very similar boats. So I think net it's a plus plus for anybody to take the plunge.
Well, on this note, we have reached the end of the session. Thanks for your time, Rashi, and it was a pleasure to have you on our platform.
Thank you so much. It was awesome to be here.
Likewise.